Welcome to the Australian Business Executive Podcast, where we speak with Australia's most influential industry professionals on the business and economic development issues taking place across the country. You can stay up to date with all our content, including our magazines, podcasts and videos by visiting www.theabe.com.au and clicking on subscribe.
Today's guest is Andrew Noble, Managing Director of Vaughan Constructions. Andrew has been with Vaughan since 1988. As Managing Director, he is focused on customer satisfaction. Through his directorship, Andrew targets compliance and governance, permeating the Vaughan way amongst their staff to ensure that their clients benefit from the unique processes, systems, and culture. He has managed all aspects of the design and project construction management delivery chain and has a passion for developing talent, which has contributed to Vaughan's deep pool of construction resources. Andrew, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
To start us off, can you talk about the background of your organization?
Vaughan Constructions is a private company. It's founded in 1955 by Ken Vaughan in Melbourne. Ken Vaughan was known as a pioneer of the design and construct methodology, particularly in industrial construction in those days. His two of his sons, Ken and Matthew Vaughan, joined the business in the early 80s and rose through the ranks to take senior managerial positions, culminating in joint managing director roles. They took the baton from their father and continued to grow and diversify the business. I started with the business, as I said, about a bit over 30 years ago, and started through our apprenticeship program. Many of our most senior construction staff are actually graduates of our apprenticeship program, so long tenure and career development, similar to my story, is not unusual within the organisation. We have over 120 staff. We have offices in Victoria, New South Wales and Queensland, and we're delivering projects on a national footprint. Our projects range from 5 to 150 million.
What do you think sets you apart within the industry?
Longevity is one thing. The company's celebrating 65 years next year and 20 years in New South Wales. So having a building contractor with that depth of experience is unique. Despite the fact that we've been around a long time, we haven't fallen into the trap of being complacent, spending too much time looking in the mirror and looking at past achievements. We've managed to retain a very innovative culture within the business, and it's very important, and we focus on remaining nimble and agile because the world changes quickly, and we either need to be able to respond to that change, or we actually need to be the people that are innovating that are causing that change. So I think that's something that set us apart. There's lots of things throughout our history where we've made significant contributions to the industry, where either methodologies, techniques or systems that we've come up with have actually been adopted by the industry, and that's something that we're pretty proud of. But more importantly, we're looking to continue that innovation.
With that sort of experience, what have you learned about the industry that you can share with us?
The industry is never static. The industry is constantly changing. It's a challenging market. A lot of the changes that are required in designing and building constructions can be led from various lead indicators. Probably the greatest one is consumer behaviour. Can flow right through to how a supply chain is required to be designed to accommodate consumer behaviours. And I think the other thing that we've learned is that long-term solid relationships are important, not only for our business but also for our customers. Having a long and diverse customer base improves the overall business intelligence of the company, and whilst obviously secrets of individual companies aren't shared. Learnings can be adopted to compatible market sectors. And I think that that long-term partnership approach has actually served us very well over the years. We've got relationships that go through multiple generations, both on our client side and also on our subcontractor and supplier side. We do work under the banner of building customers for life, and it is more than just a slogan. It is something that we live and breathe. And I'm happy to say that more often than not, we're getting it right.
And what sort of issues are being faced within the construction industry currently?
The construction industry is pretty diverse, so it kind of depends which sector you're talking about. If you think about the industrial sector on the supply chain side, there's dramatic developments in automation. There's dramatic developments in supply chain philosophy. And as I was just saying, that's been largely led by consumers. And that's caused a complete rethink on how products are distributed, and the distribution on meaning how products are actually delivered to a warehouse, in particular, where a warehouse is located, the level of automation that's required in that warehouse, and then the type of automation that's required in that warehouse, because products have varying size, shapes, etc. So the integrity of the product is also particularly important when handling it through a very fast-moving supply chain. That's probably the biggest change that's occurring at the moment, I would say, is in the supply chain in the industrial sector.
You've been the builder of choice for some pretty notable companies and sites. Can you take us through a few of the projects that you've been involved with?
Sure. I'll just concentrate on more recent years, probably going back to 2018. The Dulux paint manufacturing project at Merrifield in Victoria was a significant project. It had a footprint of about 20,000 square metres, which in itself isn't extraordinary, but it's sizable. But its scale was really in what was in the building and what it was doing. Paint facilities only get built about every 50 years. So I've said it before, but these type of projects, you have to take the approach that you're really reinventing the wheel, because yesterday's technology is redundant, and these facilities are significant investments for companies. So therefore, the design, the equipment that is housed within the facilities needs to be able to service the company for a long period of time, has to maintain a certain amount of flexibility as well. But that particular project, it had over 1,000 tonne of steel in it. It had 12.5 kilometres of stainless steel tubing, which incorporated about 17,500 stainless steel fittings, and the volume of paint that it produces is on an extraordinary scale. That particular project took out a Victorian Master Builder Award in 2018 for its category, and it also won the overall Master Builder of the Year award, which I believe is the first time in the NBA's history that something from the industrial category has actually taken out the overall award. So it was quite significant. And the best news about it all is it's performing beyond expectations for Dulux. So they're particularly pleased with the result. And that project's also an example of the partnering approach that I was talking about before. It was completed under an ECI agreement, which is early contractor involvement agreement. That's where Dulux chose Vaughan as their builder before they had really finalised what they required, and it meant that we went on the complete journey with Dulux from the very first sketch design on a plan right through to looking at the various options and possibilities that we entertained during the course of the project. Ultimately, it meant Dulux got something beyond what they ever anticipated. So it was a fantastic result, and that's largely, I'd like to say, because of our contribution and the part that we played, but it's largely because of the methodology that they chose, which is the ECI methodology. Other significant projects would be the Woolworths MSRDC project. That's a project that is just on a monstrous scale and complexity. It's got a footprint of about 70,000 square metres. It's an investment for Woolies of over $500 million, and that incorporates some of the latest automation and technology from Europe. That won an award at the Property Council for innovation, and deservedly so, because it really is a fantastic development. And I think although our brand recall is for industrial buildings, our actual capabilities is a lot more diverse than that, both in the type of project, but also the geographical location of the projects that we do deliver. We've recently picked up awards in Perth for Sigma Pharmaceuticals, and recently picked up award in New South Wales for the Fujitsu distribution facility out of Eastern Creek. So, like I said, the brand recall is for those hard-working industrial, complex, large-scale buildings, but the business competencies and capabilities really lie in complex food facilities, and that's across all food groups, and it's both production, food storage, and also food distribution, right through to education, commercial buildings, and we've been recognised in each of those sectors. So the business's capability is actually quite diverse, despite the fact that the brand recall is for those large-scale industrial facilities.
And where do you see your company headed in the coming years?
Well, we've just finished a 10-year plan. We tend to do 10-year business plans, and we're just at the end of our latest one. And thankfully, we hit all of our targets, and we've also achieved all of our aspirations. So we're just at the start of planning for our next 10 years. It's a business that's been around for a long time, so we tend to make long-term plans. So the business going forward, most importantly, for the business to keep driving over the next 10 years, we have to maintain the focus on our customer, and we have to provide innovative and outstanding customer service. That will stand us in good stead for the future. As far as continued growth, and the growth that we look for is sustainable growth. We don't look for sugar hits. So we're not a company where you see our revenue charts don't look like Mount Everest. They tend to look pretty smooth. But the growth will come from more diversity. We'll continue to look for markets where, once again, our talent and our capabilities can lend themselves very easily to it. We've recently achieved our FSC accreditation, which will provide us with a revenue stream where projects are either fully or partially federally funded, and we see that as a good opportunity for the business and something where our skill sets lend themselves to that type of work. We'll continue to grow our geographical presence. We've got permanent offices across the eastern seaboard. We do service the central and west of Australia from the east coast, so in the not too distant future we will see a permanent presence in the central west. But primarily growth is going to come, as I said before, it's going to come from looking after our existing customer base, and making sure that we continue to produce a product that serves people well and stands the test of time.
Well, Andrew, thanks for your time today.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
This has been a production of the Australian Business Executive, a division of Romulus Rising Proprietary Limited. All rights reserved. You can stay up to date with the Australian Business Executive, including our magazines, podcasts and videos, by visiting www.theabe.com.au and clicking on subscribe.